Welcome, everybody, to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, I talk about 4 different types of freedom: time, financial, location, and health freedom, physical freedom. So, in that light, I always bring in guests and entrepreneurs that are doing things on the cutting edge, changing the world, and sharing ideas to hopefully inspire you. So today we have Tom Antion, and he's the King of Kaching, and and he's actually the host of the Screw the Commute podcast, and it's going to be a great discussion about financial freedom, being your own boss. And so, Tom, welcome.
Thanks, Doc, for having me on.
Yeah, I know we had gotten connected through Podmatch, and what's interesting is you have a very interesting bio, you know. So tell us more about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, it's kind of an unbelievable bio because people look at my resume and like, it can't be true, because how could you do so many things? And my whole thing is I've never had a job. I've always had my own business for over 44 years. Before I graduated college, I owned 5 apartment buildings and a hotel, and I know you're into real estate, so I think that probably interests you. So I never had a job, so that's how Screw the Commute podcast came along, in that I'm just totally into being your own boss, making your own money. And I know your physicians, sometimes they're their own boss, sometimes they're not. So I got a lot of info that I think will intrigue them to utilize the internet. I mean, I hit the multimillionaire status 20 years ago online, and I've been selling on the commercial internet for 28 years and a half now, since it began in 1994, the commercial part of it. And also I'm a little bit worried about real estate nowadays, Doc, because I got friends out of New York that are telling me that really, like, a lot of the commercial buildings are only 30% occupied. With COVID, when COVID hit, everybody went home. And then the companies started saying, you know what, why are we paying $300 a square foot when we let them sit home and do their laundry? And so I've got some other alternatives, I think, that'll your physicians will be able to take advantage of.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Quite a very fascinating movie. It's great to talk to one of the OGs from from the 90s.
Well, what's funny is a lot of people are saying that, and I'm so old, I'm so far over the hill, I can't remember going up the hill. All right, so some people start calling me the OG, and I thought, man, I'm easy going, but that's kind of rude calling me an old guy, I didn't know it was original gangster. So, and then one thing you said in the opening about the cutting edge stuff, nope, not for me. I use what I call dull edge technology, Doc, because see, I've been around through everything that you can imagine online, and the cutting edge is always the most expensive, the most glitches, the most hassle, the most customer complaints. So I use what I call dull edge technology. All right, I wait until everybody figures out all the glitches and all the geeks, and they spend money and try the latest greatest stuff, and then I wait until I see what really works, and then I zoom in and make the money. So I use dull edge technology. You won't get any cutting edge out of me today.
Interesting. So you talk about internet marketing and a 3-pronged attack on a 7-figure income. What does that mean?
Well, people started begging me to teach this. When you do really well at something, people notice and they ask you how you did it. So I was getting asked so much how I did it, I had to create things that people could understand, because I'm not really that technical. I use all off-the-shelf software. I don't do any programming, nothing, just things that are out there, the other people, the geeks and propeller heads, figured out, and then I use it to make money. So I needed to boil it down to something easy that people could understand. So the 3 prongs are your website and all that entails, your database, which used to be just email, but now it's text and, likes and followers and all that stuff. So that's your database of people. And then product development. And I originally had, clear back before you were born, I had cassette tapes and, and stuff like that. A lot of people never even seen one. But now I really emphasize digital stuff because it's 97% profit. You tell me one of your doctors out there that works at 97% profit, and I'll crawl to their office to see how they're doing. All right. Because the digital stuff, you get just as much money for it. But it's, you're just selling electrons basically, and people download them. The money goes into your checking account. This will really make you sick. I paid $97 to a chiropractor. Ooh, chiropractor. For a book because I did 1,000 kick serves one month in tennis, which is a violent motion to make a weird spin on the ball, right? And I wake up and my hand is tingling. And I'm like, oh my God, I ruined myself. I'll never play tennis again. And it turned out it was my 7th cervical vertebrae was, I don't know, irritated or whatever. And I'm desperate. So I go on, I find this chiropractor that shows me a video that says, oh, you probably did your 7th cervical vertebrae. I got this book, will show you how to fix it. $97 for this, 30-page ebook. Boom, $97. He put the money in the bank. I looked at the book, did the exercises, and I can still play tennis. All right. So that $97 was, pure profit. If he sells 1,000 a year, there's 100 grand a year, just for working once. And that's when I speak, I've done like 3,000 speeches around the world, about 12 countries. And I say, look, I want you to work, get paid forever. And that's what products are, digital products. So the 3 prongs are website, database, and product.
Nice. I like that.
Mm.
And then you talk about what's quite interesting is you talk about different ways of making money online even without a website, and can you give us a few of that?
Yeah, there's ways that you can utilize all these other technologies. For instance, there's a site, there's 2 sites that are very similar called Cafe Press and Zazzle. They have over 1 million different products where you can go up there and build a store for free, pick hoodies, golf shirts, onesies for babies. I mean, all these products. And all you do is upload some graphics, and it's a print on demand for all of this kind of stuff. And so the products don't exist until somebody purchases it. They put your logo on the polo shirt and ship it to them, collect the money, and give you a royalty you have no inventory, no nothing, no website, no anything. You just tell people about it. If I was a doctor, doctors are, I got to tell you, I mean, you quit being one, but they're kind of a weird bunch, all right, because they don't want their colleagues to think bad of them. But the one guy that's selling supplements is making $40 million a year, all right, so he doesn't care if you don't think that he's cool or not, right? 40 million bucks a year. So this is something. I have a doctor now that I got her doing speaking engagements, which makes people just fall in love with her. And she's written books because I taught her how to do it. And so she wrote the book once, but then she sells them 50, 100, 500 at a time. See? And so every business on earth, and I was thinking about this, does this apply to physicians? Yeah, it does, that you should have a digital part of your business. And that could be a membership site. You go out and do a speaking engagement. You probably get 5 or 10 grand just because you got an MD, and you even throw in a PhD on top of it. All right. So you jack it up another 5,000. All right. But then if you're in front of 500 people and 125 of them give you $50 a month to be in a membership site, you just made a big income on into the future. And maybe once a week you get on a live call and let people answer questions and so forth. And you've got this recurring income. And what happens, Doc, when you get enough people in a membership site, they start to make friends with themselves. You could not show up one week and they'd still be talking to each other. Oh, I wonder what happened to the doctor this week. Must have had an emergency. They wouldn't care. They'd still give you their $50 a month or sometimes $100 a month. See, so you can have all these things going for you. And like I said, having the MD and with you with the double whammy here, you know, you have that natural credibility in the world, and people will throw money at you just for a little extra access where you're not walking into the room reading your Inc. magazine and don't know their name. You know, so they want to connect with you more. And this is the way you can connect with big groups of people without, you know, your personal time being taken up for each one at a time in the office. And this poor lady that they keep jacking her rent up, you know, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month, and all the technology she has to keep track of the patients. You know, she makes more speaking and writing books than the actual net income of being a doctor and being there and you know, taking care of people. And that's of course noble that she's doing that, but financially it doesn't make sense. She can make more money speaking and writing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, what that's, you know, that's, it's great, you know, talking about passive income and scalability. And what's interesting is that okay, so we'll talk about for especially entrepreneurs. So you never had a job, and that's actually a good thing. And what advice would you give to people that want to get out of their dreaded job, or, you know, somebody contemplating, you know, career advice? What would you tell them?
Mhm. Well, if I had a job, I would use that job. I would go there and still do a great job, and I wouldn't slack off, but I would use the income from that to, and part-time, build a digital product um, deal. And here's the other thing, Don. When I say products, you don't have to create the products because of the concept called affiliate marketing. So you can recommend other people's products and get a commission for it. And I want to get in before we get done to you have a thing you coined, passion income. Well, I've been teaching a little adjunct to that for more than 20 years, called making your hobbies tax deductible. And we'll get into that in a minute. But one of the deals is that you don't have to create the products. You can recommend other people's products. There's also a concept called PLR, which is private label rights. Somebody, and a couple of my books, I've written 25 books, a couple of them started out as what is called private label rights, which means that somebody else wrote a book, a skeleton of a book, and it's presentable, but I'm not going to put my name on it. I'm going to go through it. They did most of the work for me, and I'm going to go through, throw out what's crap, and then put in my personal stories and my knowledge, and then put the book out. You can buy these. I mean, you won't believe how cheap, $5 to $15. You can buy a book and have the rights to put it out. Now, again, don't put it out as is, because 1,000 other people did. Make it your own. And now you have a digital product of your own that sells $17, $27. The one guy was $97. So this is all available to you. So I would say use your job, and then it's going to be harder in the beginning because you're going to go and do a good job at your work. But then on the side, in the evenings and weekends, you're going to be building this product business. And my goal, you know, I've had 1,700 high-level students since I started my mentor program. My goal was to make it too expensive for you to go to work anymore. Okay, because the time you put into your own stuff is worth more than the time going to work. And you don't even have to make as much, because going to work is W-2 income. They're taking taxes out of it, no tax deductions. So having your own business, you open up a lot of tax deductions. I'm not an attorney or an accountant, but I've had hundreds of them in my audiences over the years. And they all say, yep, yeah, business expense, you have business, you got money coming in. That's a business. So you get all kinds of perks from that. So you don't even have to make as much as you did W-2 wise. So
Yeah. The other thing is you talk about your speaking career. How has that enhanced your online business?
well, the speaking is what I call a catalyst. You know, you took loads of chemistry probably, you know, catalyst helps things along, right? So Um, you can do this totally never getting out of your chair. All right. You can make a lot of money online just sitting here. But if you go out, like I have done through, like I said, 3,000 times, and all of a sudden, and you do a good job, you can't just be up there. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of doctors that, I mean, I kind of quit doing medical conferences years ago because it was just deadly. And, they'd sit up there. Oh, sorry, docs, but you're not known to be the most boisterous people on earth. All right. But we want you to study and take care of us for sure, but you're not known to be great speakers. So if you can just be a little bit better than your brethren, you can like own the world, because people will be so happy that, they can get the great information. They got your credentials, that you're fun and you can do a good job speaking. But what that did is I could bring in $250,000 in 90 minutes. All right. By selling people into a membership site after I gave them great information and I wasn't obnoxious about it. I'm known for not being obnoxious. People were having fun. I gave good value. They saw the value of my program, and so they joined. So any doctor would have an easier start than I have because of their credentials if they just work on their speaking skills. And that's the whole thing. You got to really wow the people. Everybody expects entertainment value no matter what you're talking about nowadays. So it can give you big bursts of income and people joining your memberships and then giving you money for years to come.
Yeah. I know a lot of the audience is interested. What are some of the resources, books, podcasts, YouTube videos that helped you get this information or learn more about it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't write this book, but people at my level probably have read the book I'm going to tell you right now 6 or 7 times. And it's called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, Cialdini. Because the number one skill that I've said in my entire career, even 10 years old doing kid hustles, is copywriting. And it's not copywriting your book and protecting it. It's being able to write or say or put on video the words that make people want to buy your stuff. Number one skill by far. I mean, I could lose everything today. And with that knowledge that I have in my head of being able to write and do and say those words, it moves people to action, to wherever you want them to go. Now, a lot of bad people are good at this too. So you have to watch. There's loads of scams on the internet, and they can take the worst piece of dog crap and make it look so great you're going to pull your wallet out, right? And so here's my saying on that, Doc. You can take dog poop and pour sugar on it all day long. It does not turn into candy. Okay, so you have to watch, because there's so many scammers out there. In fact, I have a TV show in Hollywood in development called Scam Brigade, because I've come out against a lot of these people. And of course, they got their lawyers after me. But I said, defamation is the defense is the truth. You did this, and I'm going to expose it to the world so you don't screw people. So you do have to watch that. But if you learn the things from the internet, I mean, your income can just skyrocket, and then you have the choice to quit being a doctor if you don't want to, because maybe they triple your malpractice rates. How about that? Maybe your rent triples. Maybe you're just so sick of pain in the neck patients that looked on WebMD and decide they know more than you. I don't know what kind of frustrations doctors go through, but I've heard from a lot of them, those are some of them. So definitely beats working for a living. I can tell you the stuff I do, because and also I just don't know how you folks do it, exposed to all the potential diseases and pandemics and, everything else out there, working in it every day. I didn't have a sniffle during the whole pandemic. I sit at home, I go where I want to, and I pretended to wear a mask half the time just so some Karen wouldn't yell at me while I was on the street. And, that was it. And I had a checkup, and the doctor said I should have been a Clydesdale horse. He's, because at my age, I'm not on any kind of pills. blood pressure's fine, everything's fine, other than being a fat butt. He said from sitting there on the computer too long. He says, there's nothing wrong with you. So you get to pick who you are around. You get to pick the lifestyle, where you want to be. It's just beautiful, especially when you have this digital income coming in. And you're into real estate. We call it virtual real estate, VRE. There's actually an acronym for it, because I have all these web entities around there that are working for me, bringing in money. And I got in a hunting accident. And I kind of call this internet stuff an insurance policy for your family, because I got in a hunting accident and it would have been such a great story had I gotten shot. All right. And no, I fell on a log and perforated my intestines. All right. So I didn't get shot. But I was in intensive care for 2 weeks. Couldn't lift 5 pounds for 6 months, but money kept coming in because of these entities I built online. So that's the kind of thing that that I want for your physicians and every other budding entrepreneur out there, is to have that stuff working for you when life gets in the way.
Excellent. And this was Tom, this was a fascinating conversation. And
oh, don't forget about hobbies. I want to tell them about hobbies if we have a moment.
Sure. And just for the listeners, with regards to tax, this is not tax advice. It's just, someone's opinion, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, this is a pitiful opinion. You'd never want to follow my advice. So anyway, your passion income, when I listened to it and I heard you describe it several times, it was like something you're really good at, and maybe you're a consultant, maybe you do this, that, and the other with. That's work. I'm talking about stuff that your hobbies, what you love to do: golf, camping, family interests, soccer for your kids. This is what you can do. You can build a world-class website. And I got to tell you, doctors are sitting ducks. They might as well put a big target on their chest when they go to a web person that's going to charge them 5 or 10 or 15,000 bucks for something they could do for 150 bucks. We can create world-class websites for 150 bucks. WordPress, which is free, $150 theme on it, and maybe some custom graphics off of Fiverr, FIVERR.com, which is people will do stuff for $5. And you got a world-class website. And if you're into camping, your family's into camping, so you bought this $50,000 camper trailer, and you go vacations, and it costs a fortune for gas and everything. Well, if you had a website that was about camping, and you don't have to create products, you go find other products and have them on the website that you get an affiliate commission if somebody buys them. Now you're in business. Now you can't bring in $2 and spend $100,000 and think the IRS is going to be all thrilled about that. There are 87,000 new agents are coming after you with their guns blazing. All right. But if you bring in money, now you don't have to feel guilty about going camping and spending money on stuff, because you have this business part of it going for you. And it applies to any kind of hobby that you have. So I highly suggest you do that, because there's no law in the United States, I don't know how wide your audience is, but that you have to hate the business you're in. You can love the business and still get the tax deduction.
Yeah. Lastly, how can people visit you, find you, follow you, contact you?
Well, they should go to Screw the Commute podcast, because there's 640 episodes so far, and probably about 200 of them are me training stuff. You'll get $1 million worth of free training if you just listen to my training sessions. And then we interview other great entrepreneurs. And then if you really want, we have the longest running, most unique, most successful mentor program ever in the field of internet and digital marketing. It's been running 25 years, 1,700 students. And it's unique in that we have an entry fee, but then I don't get big money unless you make big money, where most people at my level charge you 50 or 100 grand up front. And I said, that's too risky. And most of them would take off with the money anyway and not help you. So they can check that out at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com. And then for any business person out there, even doctors or whatever, make sure you grab a copy. I have a book on how I automate myself. It'll say just one of the tips in the book. We actually estimated a couple years ago that saved me 7.5 million keystrokes, and it was a $20 program. See, I've been using since 1997 and it still works today. So you can grab a free copy of that at a great internet. Excuse me, you go to screwthecommute.com/automate free for that. And then I'll just say you're welcome now, because if you use even a little bit what's in the book, it's going to save you enormous amounts of time. Enormous.
Excellent. And for all the listeners out there, Tom's resources will be in the links and show notes. But thanks for coming onto the podcast, and we look forward to hearing about your future success.
My pleasure.